Talk to me.
And that's where it should have ended. It should have stopped right there, but of course...
Someone was sitting there. I'm proving it.
I didn't go prove it. Prove it, that's right.
Hold on, you don't have to prove anything. You could just leave it right there and let somebody else go. You saw everything. You know it's real.
Just say it. Come on, say it.
You don't have to say it. Just stop.
I let you in.
Or not. Or just don't listen to me.
Amazing.
Oh, so now you're actually glad that you gave in to everybody pressuring you into this thing that is terrifying.
Talk to me.
But now after partaking, you're riding the high of the experience. Of course, if you've seen the movie, you know that that's what this was about, is that it's just like the new drug that people are able to pass around at a party. And about how the new cool thing is not just something that you can pick up and put down whenever you want, but it literally has a grip on you. Ah, super clever, right? But then you start to think about the actual lore of the movie and what's going on. And if you're like me, you get to the end of it and you're like, huh? So right now, me and you are gonna walk hand in hand through this movie so we can actually figure out the deeper meaning and what? So since I'm fixing to spoil the whole thing, if you haven't seen it, just go and watch it. Go and rent it, go and buy it, do whatever you can to support this movie. Because one of the coolest things about it is that it was made by Danny and Michael from Rocka Rocka. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be disappointed. This movie's fantastic, and it has one of the most original ideas that I've seen in a long time, and even this opening scene caught me off guard. Because the tone is set so well with it. We have Cole here walking into a party, not really wanting to be a part of the party, but he's looking for his brother named Duckett. And it's immediately clear that he's not just looking for him to give him back his wallet or anything like that, because he literally breaks the door down to a house that's not even his, right? Like, it's not normal to show up to somebody's party and then lock yourself in a bedroom and take your shirt off and to have like a big old wound on your back. Like, something's seriously wrong here. And luckily, Cole knows it. Cole's the only one that seems to know it, because what does everybody else do?
Are you serious? Put your phones down.
I can sympathize with Cole because he's like, there's something serious going on here. What are y'all doing? I didn't see that coming. Well, huh? What just happened? Because that has to be one of the craziest cold opens to a horror movie. Everything's just so happy-go-lucky, like everybody's having a party, it seems great. And then it ends in absolute chaos because there's something much more serious going on right underneath the surface. And it's further emphasized in the next scene whenever our main character, Mia, is at a family get-together for the second anniversary of her mother's death. It's very clear that she's still very distraught and kind of disconnected from not just everybody there, but reality itself, wanting to just disappear into her headphones for a little while. We also see that she has basically disappeared from the relationship that she had with her father.
How's the day for you?
What?
Just gotta say, this scene is amazing because through a lack of dialogue and through literally having somebody out of focus, we know everything that we need to about the relationship between them. It's good, but of course it doesn't last, and she ends up getting a phone call from her best friend Jade's little brother named Riley, because Jade completely forgot to go and pick him up from the park. So while Riley is waiting for Mia to come and pick him up, he's hanging out with his friend James, who tries to get him to smoke a cigarette, but of course Riley's smarter than that. He's like, no, not for me.
No, I hate the smell.
Because Riley doesn't just give in to peer pressure whenever somebody wants him to do something. And neither should you, okay? There's only one time that it's acceptable for you to give in to peer pressure, and it's right down there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hit the subscribe. From the chandelier. And of course, they're having a great time. Riley gets picked up and they're just driving, and then...
I mean, look at it.
We can't just leave it like that.
If you didn't know that this was filmed in Australia, well, now you do. At first, they're not really sure what to do with this poor little kangaroo that's just in the middle of the road suffering, whether they need to call for help or...
put it out of its misery.
Seeing that the latter decision is probably the best for it, they get back in the car and prepare to get it over with. But Mia, who is also suffering herself, She just can't get herself to do it. Even with Riley begging her to do it to help the kangaroo.
Mia, no, we can't leave it like this.
She just drives away saying,
Another car will come.
Then they make it over to Riley's house, where we then get to meet the best friend Jade as well as their mom Sue. So we can learn a little bit more about Mia and her relationship with her dad. Sue, of course, asks, how is everything?
I hate being around him. It's so depressing.
Not only that, we also get to see the relationship between Sue and Jade whenever Jade goes to ask her if she's going to bed.
You only ask if I'm going to bed when you're sneaking out.
Because of course they're sneaking out. There's a party to go to. A party that even Riley gets to go to because Mia just couldn't say no to him. And if it's not clear by now, it should be that they are really close. But when they get to this party, Mia is just distant from everything. She just can't seem to get out of her head with thinking about her mom and how it's the 2-year anniversary of her death. And all of that causes her to be the one to volunteer to use the hand.
Does anyone else want to volunteer?
I'll do it.
Which doesn't seem like a big deal, and everybody actually thinks that it's just a big hoax until she actually tries it. Because with how tight they're strapping her to this chair, it's clear that at least somebody's taking this a little serious.
Oh, dude.
Trust me. It's gonna be done.
And as you saw at the beginning, Mia, of course, begins to take this much more serious.
Talk to me.
So much so that she goes through the entire process and actually goes over the 90-second time limit that they said was so important.
You okay? We went a bit over.
Why is 90 seconds the limit?
What happens after 90 seconds?
Don't want to stay.
Oh, I hope that doesn't lead to any problems for the rest of this movie. But I mean, at least they blew the candle out because that was one of the other rules.
Light the candle to open the door, blow it out to close it.
Which I have my own thoughts on that we're going to come back around to later on whenever it becomes important. Because right now, the most important thing that happens during this entire sequence is what the spirit says through Mia to Riley.
I like you.
Because the spirit is literally pointing out that there is another spirit that seems to really like Riley.
There he is.
Then also the door opens, seeming to let more spirits to come in closer. Whether it's 1 or 100, this definitely freaks Riley out to the point that he's not even able to sleep in his own room at night. And Jade could literally care less because, of course, it's her little brother. So he ends up going downstairs to hang out with Mia, where they then begin to talk about the entire experience. Because, of course, he's just as curious as I am to figure out, what did it feel like for her?
What did the hand feel like?
It felt amazing.
I love the way that it's described because there's so much room for us to interpret and to think about how it would feel, but essentially to me, it sounds like having your senses jacked up to 100 and just being completely hyper aware.
I could hear and see and feel everything.
But with none of the control or responsibility.
But I was in the passenger seat.
Just simply experiencing everything around you. Then Riley asks about Mia's mom and how she died.
How did your mom die?
Took too many sleeping pills. By accident.
And that, of course, sounds pretty suspicious, but that's just what Mia knows and believes at this point. And it's what helps her sleep at night. Just like what Riley's doing here, sleeping peaceful. What is that? What was that? Who was that? I'll tell you what it is. It's not good. And it's not explained here because now it's the next day. And with what happened last night, everybody seems to be extra curious about this hand, and so Jade goes to talk to Haley about it. Because her boyfriend Daniel, who is also Mia's ex-boyfriend,
Hi, ex-boyfriend.
wants to have a turn with the hand. Right, like after seeing all of that happen, you gotta be extra curious. I mean, come on, you gotta try it. I mean, you just gotta do it. First, everybody's gotta meet over at Jade's house for a get-together, not a party.
You better not be having a party, Jade. I swear to God.
Even though Sue is really convinced that there's gonna be a party.
What time's everyone getting here?
Getting here for what?
The party. What time's the party again? Mia, if there is a party tonight, you are banned from this house.
But it's not a party, it's just a couple friends getting together to hang out, conjure some spirits, make out with some dogs. You know, the normal teenage stuff. Wait, what? Yeah, so since they get straight to it, because it's not a party, they have Daniel sit down. Of course, he grabs the hand, immediately freaks out, but we don't see whatever he sees, and he lets it in anyway, and
I'll let you in.
apparently this spirit is into some really weird things. I'm just glad that I watched the commentary with Danny and Michael about this whole scene, because I thought this was 100% real, but they were able to use like a puppet and just mask everything together with CGI. And of course, when something like this happens, what does everybody do? That's gross.
Delete it. Delete it, come on!
Understandably, Daniel gets pretty upset with this and runs out of the room, and this doesn't stop anybody from wanting to have their turn now.
Can I have a go? After that?
Because we get an entire montage of just about everybody having a good time except for Riley and his buddy James. It goes to show that the hand is not seen as something scary in any way, but it's just like a fun party trick. So much fun that James wants in on it.
I need a shot. Me too.
No way.
Everybody agrees that James is just too young, so there's no point, you know, we don't know what could happen because of his age, so he needs to go sit down. Which is interesting to me because it's like they are recognizing that there is some danger here. Then Riley wants to go and everybody says, no, no, and Jade gets upset and she walks out.
I hate you.
So of course Riley looks at Mia like, please just not, I don't even have to go the full 90 seconds. Just let me go 50 seconds.
What about 50?
Okay, 50.
50 seconds?
What do you think happens whenever you get a room full of basically junkies on this and you've got somebody that really wants to do it? Do you think they're gonna say yes or no?
Sign the form, baby, let's go.
Riley gets strapped into the chair. He grabs a hold of the hand. Immediately, something is way different than everybody else that's been having a good time. Because the spirit that Riley lets in seems to not just be a random spirit, but seems to be Mia's mom.
I miss you so much, me.
Who then starts to apologize to Mia for what happened.
I don't want you to hate me.
Which causes Mia to want this to continue just a little bit longer instead of the 50 seconds that they started out with.
Hey, that's 50 seconds.
No, please don't close it off. Let's say it's my mum, please.
And I'm guessing you can figure where this is headed. Headed straight to the table? You didn't think of that? I'll be honest, I really don't think I can show you on YouTube what happens to Riley. Basically, the spirit causes Riley to start bashing his face into the table and then just trying to, I mean, it's so intense that just about everybody's in shock for what is happening in front of them, that they then realize, oh crap, we've got to get this hand away from him or else he's gonna go over the 90 seconds. As soon as they try, he gets thrown across the room. Luckily, Jade comes running back in because he's still bashing his head against stuff, and it's about to stop. Jade, being quick on her feet, runs across the room and is able to literally protect Riley's face from getting bashed the rest of the way, and through this they're able to get the hand away from him. And it's just like chaos everywhere because everybody's thinking, we need to get rid of this hand. Oh crap, we've got a video of this. We got to get rid of that. The cops are going to be thinking that one of us did this. And the entire time, Mia is just beside herself as she just walks out. Luckily, the cops and the EMTs are able to get there as quick as possible to help Riley get into the hospital. And as Mia walks off to the bathroom, we're not sure who it is right now, but we will find out. But more importantly, right now, the cops are asking what in the world happened to everybody in the house. And everybody has an answer because apparently they got together to come up with a story so nobody gets in trouble. And then we have Mia washing the blood off of her hands as she's realizing his blood is on her hands. After taking Riley off to the hospital, Mia goes back home where she gets in an argument with her dad and ends up just storming off and then leaving to go to the hospital to check on Riley. Which is understandable, but everybody else is super mad at Mia right now.
No offense. I don't want you here right now.
Wait, Jade.
What are you doing here?
So much so that Sue is accusing her of giving Riley some drugs.
Did you give him something?
No.
And it didn't hit me until right now why that is. Because Sue keeps claiming that Mia's done a bunch of different things.
You better not be getting stoned again, Mia. Come on, I know you've done Before, what was it?
Nothing, I swear.
But we know that her mom died from taking too many sleeping pills. So Sue's basically saying that you're just like your mom, and instead of just abusing your own drugs, you've caused Riley to also want to do it, and it led to him getting seriously hurt.
What did my son ever do to you?
So understandably, they tell her to kick rocks, get out of here.
Can I just see him?
You come back here, I'm gonna call the police.
The very upset Mia goes to leave, and then she actually sees the same woman that she saw a moment ago at the house in the reflection at the hospital. After following it into the bathroom, we realize that this is her mom. For some reason, I guess she let the toilet overflow because the entire floor of the bathroom is soaking wet. Instead of just running up to Mia and giving her a big hug and saying, "I'm so glad that we could actually talk right now. It's crazy, right?" She hides in one of the stalls and scratches down the door just like she did whenever she was trapped in her bedroom and couldn't get out because of all the pills in her system. Now, not only being upset, she's also freaked out. Mia goes to leave. She runs into Daniel. She talks to him for a minute. He feels bad, of course, for everything that's happened, and he decides to give her a ride home, where they both say that they don't want to be alone.
I don't want to be alone.
Weird.
And they might as well go back to Mia's house to hang out for the night together. And surely nothing bad could happen from that.
We're just friends. It's not like it's illegal or anything.
See, what'd I tell you? Nothing good. Huh. Well, alright, I guess I was wrong. They're just two friends that just went through something really traumatic and they don't have their parents to help them out with anything right now. So they found comfort in one another. That is, until we get this dream sequence. Which quickly turns into a nightmare sequence of Mia seeing her dad pull her mom out of the room, and then it's her, as she looks down to see her own nails have been scratching at the door. And all of that symbolism that we'll come to at the end, because right now she's waking up, realizing that she's had a nightmare, and what is that? Make it go away! No! But honestly, this is probably one of my favorite scares in the whole movie. You got this drowned spirit lady hiding in the corner and then slowly comes crawling out and then... Why? Ugh. Why is Daniel not awake? What? I mean, seriously? Not only is somebody literally sucking on your foot, but somebody else is screaming in the room and you don't wake up? Okay. That can't be a good sign. Daniel realizes that and gets out of there as fast as he can. Can you blame him? But that means that Mia doesn't even get a chance to explain what's happening on her end. Yeah, that was a real slap, and the rest of her reaction is right up there with the same level of insanity. What do you expect whenever she doesn't have her mom anymore, her relationship with her dad is not good, the only actual family that she had now doesn't want to be around her because of what happened to Riley, and the last person she could talk to just left her house. But she has the hand, and that means she could at least talk to somebody. So not being in the right state of mind, she sets everything up, begging for her mom to respond, and says the magic words.
Talk to me.
Sure enough, her mom responds, "No, I will not explain why I did that until later." Because right now, the biggest thing is that Mia gets some comfort from her mom, who goes on to tell her that her death was purely accidental.
Not on purpose, me.
And that Riley needs help.
Riley needs help.
Speaking of Riley, he's actually getting a bath right now. Are you starting to see a theme? Because it should be apparent that these spirits and water are closely related. Because I can tell you right now, he's not just taking a bath, but he's fixing to turn it into another bloodbath.
Riley, stop! Riley, stop!
Again, I gotta give props for this movie because this is actually him doing his own stunt here with breaking the tiles and everything. But it's clear that he already didn't look good and now he's gonna look even worse. And this seems to be the first time that he's come to since everything happened. The nurses are able to run in and probably sedate him so that way he'll calm down for a little bit. This is gonna be the new thing for Riley, at least for a while. And it's actually a little while later whenever we pick back up on the next day where everybody has gotten back together to talk about what in the world they're gonna do with the hand. Which is where Haley and Joss reveal where they got it and what happened to the other guys that had it.
He said he was seeing them without it.
And then he went full skids.
Then they set off to go and talk to Cole, who was stabbed at the beginning of the movie by his brother Duckett because of the hand. Luckily, Cole's able to give him some answers and lets them know that as long as Riley doesn't deal anymore with the hand, the connection will get weaker and then his body will just kick out the spirits anyway.
His body should kick him out. They get weaker the longer they're in here.
But all of this and the fact that Daniel and Mia technically slept in the same bed causes Jade to freak out and to jump off the train, where everybody then reveals to Mia, it seems, that it was all her fault.
We didn't decide anything.
We did. We all said.
Mia, that was just you.
Because, of course, Jade already told Riley no, that he didn't need to do the hand, but Mia ended up telling him, yeah, go ahead. And then everybody went, well, I mean, Mia seems like an older sister to him, so why not? Which, I mean, is kind of a cop-out, because if you know that the hand shouldn't be used by a kid and you let them do it anyway because another child said it's okay, that's, you come on now. It's also your fault.
I wish that you didn't force yourself into my family meal.
Even with all that going on, they're able to brainstorm a little bit and think that maybe we didn't actually blow the candle out.
We blow the candle out?
Whenever all that was going on with Riley, and now the connection was never actually broken.
What if we opened the door but we didn't shut it?
And so Haley and Josh, doing their good deed for the day, they head off, and now we have Daniel, Mia, and Jade all heading to the hospital to do the ceremony again with Riley, even though they were just told not to by Cole, whose brother literally died. Back at the hospital at the perfect time, because Sue is left, you know, leaving Riley's side for a little while because she's got like a work thing. We have them going into the room, and of course there's a problem. Riley's not awake to be able to say, talk to me. But they try it anyway. They put it in his hand, they blow the candle out, and they go, did it work? I don't know. Then Mia gets the idea that maybe she can use the hand to talk to Riley somehow.
What if I use the hand to speak to him?
I thought these spirits were in limbo.
Yeah, well, maybe that's where Riley is.
She sits down, sets everything up, and says, talk to me.
Talk to me.
Then this little spirit girl shows up, and Mia just asked her, can you help me find my friend? Jaxu says, yeah, I can take you to him.
I let you in.
And I did not expect this next part, which I've looked at it frame by frame, and I can tell you, I can't show you most of this. But I can for sure tell you that he is in pure agony and torture from a whole slew of these drowned, wet spirits. It's clear that they're all having a wonderful time because, like it was said at the beginning of the movie, this is the he of whom we're going to see more of in just a minute. Not right now, because Mia let go of the hand. She doesn't want anything to do with it.
No, don't touch me! Don't touch me!
It's amazing to me because this is effectively like she had a bad trip.
We're hurting him, Jade. They're not gonna stop.
All of her other personal experiences with the hand up to this point have been happy-go-lucky, and now it's a nightmare. It's because that's how drugs work. Since it can't always be good, all Mia knows is that she has to get away from here right now. Being in a haze, she makes it back home where Max, her dad, is waiting to talk to her about her mom. He admits to her that he hasn't been truthful as he begins to reveal the note that she left before she passed away, revealing to us and to Mia that it wasn't an accident.
I hope you don't hate me for this. I hope you find it in your heart to forgive me.
But even with this horrific news, it's able to bring them closer together as they finally share a moment and share a hug. I'm sorry, did you forget that this is a horror movie? That kind of stuff cannot last. Because then we see her mom again, which causes her to tell her dad, hold on, I gotta go check something, and she walks off into a dark room to go and talk to her, leaving Max very confused about what in the world just happened, where is she going? Leaving Mia also confused because just the night before, her spirit mom literally said,
Not on purpose, me.
which should tell you a little bit of something about this spirit mom. But hold on, we gotta hear this spirit mom out for a minute. Instead, she tries to avoid the question by explaining to Mia that she needs to go and help Riley, and the only way that she can really help him is to put him out of his misery.
He needs to die.
And by doing that, then Mia's mom will be able to take care of him
I'll look after him, Mia.
and get him away from all of the other drowned spirits that are tormenting him right now.
Help him, Mia.
But hey, Mia doesn't care about that right now. She needs to know whether or not it was an accident or on purpose. And apparently, it's not even her dad that said that.
He's lying. And why did you write it?
I didn't. That's not your dad.
And it's very clear that not her dad is now at the door. Terrifyingly, he breaks down the door, he runs over, he grabs Mia, throws her to the ground, begins to choke her as she's just out of reach of a pair of scissors. While all of this is going on, we have her actual dad, who is in the other room, who finds the hand, hears all of this, makes it to the room, sees Mia on the floor, and runs over to help her because he's not sure what's going on.
Mia!
No! They just made up like everything was gonna be okay, and now this happens? That's exactly how I felt the first time I watched this. But I guess it is a testament to how good this movie is whenever I care this much about these characters. I was in shock because of this, just like Mia, who waits until morning time comes around before she does anything else. Of course, she can't call the cops because Riley needs help. So there's only one thing that she can do, and that's go to Riley. But first she has to call Jade. It's clear at this point that she's got her mind made up with what she's gonna do with Riley, and she doesn't want Jade there. So she asks her best friend to come to her house to talk for a little bit.
Okay. I'll be there in 10.
But in reality, Mia's already at the hospital. And as she walks into Riley's room, you can see the pair of scissors in her back pocket that were used on her dad. But before anything can happen, Sue shows up. Up until this point, Sue has just been super negative, super mean to just about everybody. She doesn't trust any of her kids. She doesn't really like anybody. She's not very likable all the way around, but she sits down and she begins to apologize to Mia because she realizes she shouldn't have said some of the stuff that she said.
I know that you wouldn't do anything to hurt him.
And she knows that Mia loves Riley and is a part of the family.
You're not Riley's friend, Mia. You're his family.
And even with taking all of this in, she looks at Riley and asks to be alone with him for just a little bit.
I have a minute with him. I'll learn.
Of which Sue, of course, gets up and leaves the room to let her spend some time with what is basically her brother. Now Mia seems to be uncertain of what she wants to do, but whenever she looks at Riley, it's no longer Riley. She sees this awful, rotting, drowned spirit that is now trying to convince her to go ahead and do it, and re-emphasizes how bad it is for Riley in here.
He's ours.
So Mia takes up the pair of scissors, and right before she does it, she sees Riley again. And just as the beginning of the movie, she can't get herself to put something out of its misery, even if it is hurting so bad. Which is why in the hallway, she sees the kangaroo hopping away. But while she's seeing that, Jade is finding Max, who is still alive. He's just not doing too good right now. She quickly realizes this is Mia's work, and she calls her mom to say, "Oh crap! Where's Mia at?"
Mia's here. What's wrong? What's happened?
Then the realization comes to everybody that this isn't good.
Yeah, she's with Riley.
Riley is in extreme danger. Or I guess physical danger, because he's been in spiritual danger for the last few days anyway. Sue then runs into the hospital room, and of course, Riley's gone.
Hey, where's my son? He was in this room.
Well, it should be here. He's just...
And none of the nurses know where he is. But luckily, Jade's made it back to the hospital, and she actually sees Mia taking Riley up the hill and through the fence. Where we then see that it's actually Mia and this gross, rotting, drowned spirit as they head down the hill and stop right at the highway. She's just so close to doing it. All she has to do is just push a little more, and this gross, rotting spirit will be out of her life, and she won't ever have to deal with it, and maybe she'll help Riley to where he won't have to deal with it either. But that's when her mom shows up and begins to try to convince her even further, "You're doing the right thing."
You're doing the right thing.
Then we get a little clearer look of her mom, and she's also starting to look rotten and like she's been drowned.
have him forever.
And it's at this moment Mia finally realizes what she's gonna have to do. But she doesn't stay down for long, unless you're really paying attention. As she gets up and she begins to walk over to see Jade and Riley, we can see all the people getting out of their cars. They're not coming to check on her, but they're going past her to check on her. Then as she turns, she's back in the hospital where she sees Riley is actually doing much better. Not only that, so is her father. Nobody seems to respond to her being there, and as she goes to run after her dad, she then sees Riley and Jade leaving the hospital, but she can't get to them. And this is whenever she looks over at the mirror that's in front of her, and she doesn't have a reflection, which is a recurring nightmare that she's been having.
I'm looking in the mirror, my reflection is gone, like I don't exist.
Quickly realizing that the lights are turning off and her dad's getting farther and farther away, she starts to run down the hallway yelling for her dad, but he doesn't seem to hear her, and she's reaching out right as all the lights are going off and the doors to the elevator begin to shut. Don't leave me! And then there's nothing. Somebody with their hand down, and as she walks over, she takes their hand in hers. And then just like that, she's there in the room with them, no longer in the dark, but sitting at another party. As we all know at this point, they gotta say the words.
I'll let you in.
Then we get credits and we're left with questions. And of course we have the bigger picture with drugs and peer pressure that leads into addiction, all coming to a head with a terrible tragedy that then causes somebody else that has fallen into the same addiction to get better because they were snapped out of it. This doesn't always happen, but luckily for Riley, because of what Mia did, it was able to snap him back to reality to where he's clean, healthy, and no longer under the influence of this new drug. Right, like you got that part, but then you have your actual questions about how does Mia getting hit by a car cause Riley to be okay? Because if you look closely, right after Mia gets hit by the car, Riley already looks better. And I've got an answer for you. It all starts with the rules that were given on how to use the hand. We have the basics of just reach out, taking her hand, you say talk to me, that summons a spirit.
Now say, talk to me.
And then once you're in contact, you say, I let you in, and well, they take over for a little bit. But it's only supposed to be for 90 seconds because if you go over the 90-second limit,
Don't want to stay.
even if the candle has been blown out. But the rules that they set up for the candle is
Light the candle to open the door, blow it out to close it.
that's the problem though. That's not how this works. This is not just me saying this, but whenever I watch the entire commentary with the movie with Danny and Michael, they actually brought this up, saying that maybe not all the rules that are given in the movie to these kids are actually true because the big point is that they really don't know what they're playing around with. They just see it as a fun game that they can do at parties.
It never gets old.
But in reality, this is a huge and serious and terrible thing that they're playing with. Which once more goes back to the theme of drugs. But as we just saw with the candle, all that does is allow the spirits to be able to find where the hand is so they can make contact. And then the longer that they're in contact with whoever it is, the stronger this bond becomes. So even if the candle is blown out, they're still around and they know exactly where you're at. Which is exactly what happened with Mia. Because we have the first guy that she sees and she lets go immediately, so the bond is already broken. It never had enough time to build up in the first place, but the second time whenever she latches on, we have this drowned woman.
Talk to me.
Who, guess what, goes over the 90 seconds with Mia and latches on not only to her, but to Riley. And it's because of that that I believe that this first spirit is actually talking about the one that we see in the wheelchair at the very end that has Riley in his arm.
There he is.
Because from what we see whenever Mia is led in by the little girl to go and see Riley, it's not just one old man, but it's a whole slew of people all together, all looking wet, all looking rotten.
I like you.
A bunch of them all working together, doing whatever they can to be able to get Riley's spirit and keep it forever.
He's ours.
Which, we are told, if you die while you have the connection, you're gonna be theirs forever. Of course, that's the reason that Mia is being pushed so hard to end Riley, so that way they will then have him forever.
He needs to die.
Where is he?
You saw. We'll have him forever.
I hear what you're asking about Mia's mom. Was she ever there, or was it always just somebody imitating her?
I think that was your mom, Mia.
Mia does point out that the spirit calls her Me, which is something that only her mom called her.
She used to call me all the time. I mean, how would the spirits know that?
Now, I've heard some people theorize that it is her mom that takes over Riley at first, and then she's kicked out by the drowned man. But I'm willing to bet her mom was never there in the first place. I say that because of what it says on the hand. And Danny and Michael made it very clear that there are a ton of Easter eggs all throughout this movie, and there's a whole bunch of them written on this hand, which says, I know what you did, as well as I know you. That on top of this line.
They were in us. They could know everything about us.
Which makes sense whenever you let something in that you're not only just letting it into you physically, but mentally, and they would be able to access whatever memories they wanted to, or any emotions that you've experienced, they would be able to get to it all. And that's definitely including the sensitive information that Mia would have had, because she believed that her mom died by accident.
Took too many sleeping pills. By accident.
That's the reason that the spirit believes that too and reaffirms it to her.
Not on purpose, me.
So as soon as she finds out the truth, the spirit can't just back up and go, oh, I'm sorry, I lied to you. I'm your mom. Ooh.
That's not your dad.
Instead, the spirit has to cover its tracks with another spirit breaking in, resulting in Max getting stabbed. But we also know from Duckett, the more you use the hand, the better connection you're gonna have. The less you use the hand, the more the connection will be separated and ultimately broken.
Spotty should kick him out.
For Mia, of course, she used it that first time, got in contact with the one drowned lady, and then literally the next night she had an entire evening of it, and there's no telling how many times she went during this montage, but she must have went a lot before what happened with Riley. Because it's after that, without using the hand, she begins to see her mom. You take all of that, and then later the evening, after she had Daniel's foot in her mouth, she gets the hand again, and it seems like she just holds on to it for the entirety of the night so she could spend the entire night with her mom. So the bond that she has made is gonna be very, very strong. Here's the thing, we have two sides. We have the living and we have the dead reaching out to take a hold of each other. So basically the living are the ones that initiate it, and then the spirits are the ones that choose to grab on and choose to let go. And the more time that they spend together, the better grip that the dead has on the living. That's the problem with both Riley and Mia, is that they held on for too long, and now the spirits have such a hold on them that they can't pull away. So it's not the blowing out of the candle that disconnects the two, it's the spirits literally just letting go. And that's the reason it's so wild what happens with Mia whenever she's led in by the little girl.
I let you in.
So stay with me, okay? Mia's the one that reached out. You have the little girl that took hold. The little girl then took Mia over to Riley, who was reaching out for literally anybody other than who he's with, because you. And so it's as though the little girl lets go and Riley grabs on to Mia. Problem is, this is all happening in essentially the spirit realm, and they're both still living. So there's only one way to break Riley's connection with the spirit world at this point, and that's through Mia, who has to be the one to let go, which is done through her jumping into a car, causing him to get better instantly after she does. Because now, of course, he's not going to be hurting himself, he's not going to be hurting those around him, and he's actually going to have his spirit to be able to help, I guess, heal his body. But because of the connection Mia still had, this caused her to now be attached to the hand. And as far as all the drowned spirits go, I'm pretty sure that they're a cult that went through and drank the Kool-Aid together, and may even have some connection to the original owner of the hands. And I say that because of this weird part at the very end of the credits. It says this is not a cult, but I don't believe it. And what is this word? Is it Gadare? I don't know. I don't know what this is. Does this reveal the secrets that are hidden within this movie or gonna be revealed in the next one? I have no idea. Because this movie has so many things going on in it that it's kind of hard to keep up. There's this whole thing with Mia and her fingernails and chipping off the paint and repainting them, as well as all the things that are actually written on the hand. And of course, I've got two hands. Is there another hand out there somewhere?
I heard it was the hand of a Satanist. And the other hand's just out there.
I don't know, so I'm just going to leave all of this to y'all to let me know down in the comments. And if you would like to watch another video of mine, you can watch this one right here. It's wonderful. Please check it out. I thank you so much for watching. I've been recording for 5 hours now. I'm very tired, so y'all have an extra blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one.